Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got some new additional information on our topic yesterday. I'll continue massive arrests, massive arrests. And first of all, a thank you. Thank you for clicking like. I have not looked at all the exact numbers, but it was our biggest day for subscriptions in a long time. So thank you. And I hope that the algorithms are doing all of the rest of their job and sending it out to reach a lot of people, because the new information I have today is very confirming, and it says it's this year. Okay, so here we go. Barry Wunsch. Now, this is the same guy that saw tanks rolling in, people going into the White House, Capitol, and all that, bringing people out in handcuffs, marching them down the road like prisoners of war. August 18th. So this is brand new. I didn't have this yesterday. This afternoon, as I was driving, the Lord opened a screen for me. In other words, he had a vision as he's driving. I'm glad he lives in Canada. I wouldn't want to be on the same street with him when he's having a vision. On the screen was 1776. It was an old font, handwritten calligraphy. I knew this was clearly a year. Now, here it is, this big stuff. Then on the screen was 2024. Now, what's this saying? It's saying the massive arrests, the change, the thing we've been looking for is happening this year. I'll read it again. Then on the screen was 2024. This was in a new-looking font. I instinctively knew that it was also a year, but it was written in a new high-level font that I'd never seen before. Well, the whole new, quote, Republic of the United States, no one has seen before. What this is saying, and a few others have been told, is that America is about to get a new republic. Again, I don't know where the Constitution fits in there, but it's going to be very interesting. But it was written in a new high-level font that I had never seen before. The only way I can describe it as it was a new futuristic font and almost seemed embedded within a high level of what contained a DNA that was being released in this moment. I watched the screen where now both these dates, 1776 and 2024, now superimposed on top of each other and became one. What this is saying is that the nation that God started in 1776 is now gone, just like, and see, these things fit together. Just like Vicki Parnell signed the death certificate for the all-capital United States of America. See, the Bible says in the mouth of two or three witnesses, let a thing be established. So when Vicki says the old all-capital United States of America is gone, she signed the death certificate. And then this guy lives in Canada. I'm pretty sure that him and Vicki, I think she lives in Georgia or someplace over there. I'm pretty sure they didn't get together and decide to cook up some big fantastic lie. In other words, for those of us that have eyes to see and ears to hear, God's talking to us. Matter of fact, in my 40 years in Bible prophecy, I've never seen God talking so much. He is screaming at his prophets and at America right now. Okay, so let's read the last part. I watched the screen where now both these dates, 1776 and 2024, now became superimposed on top of each other and became one. I watched 2024 and 1776 came into sync. 2024 absorbed 1776, and they became what seemed to be one and the same. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, so whatever happened to Dmitri Duduman's prophecy, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. I think it's still coming. I think and I hope and I pray that maybe Trump and enough Christians listening to him, getting fired up, getting praying, maybe God is giving us another little chance here. I don't think it's going to be for long. And I still think the internal revolution, still think the fall of America is coming. But if God will give us a little bit more time, if God is going to give us a few good days, and this also fits into the revival, then I'm happy for that. Okay, let's go on. And they became what seemed to be one and the same. As they spun together, they locked perfectly into place for this very moment in history. I knew by the Spirit of God that what took place in 1776 was going to be surpassed in history by what is being released and happening right now in 2024. Okay, so he's saying, I'm not saying, he's saying that the massive arrests start in 2024. Now, as you remember, Coverstone said November, December, and January 24. Well, he didn't say the year, excuse me, he didn't say the year. There's another one. Chris Reed specifically said that it's all over by July 25, and it starts in April, May 24. And he goes through, and so there's a lot of things here that are lining up. Okay, let's go on. This was the moment for things to drop into place. As they locked together, fireworks began. The fireworks were far, far beyond anything we have ever seen in history. The first round of the fireworks were intense. I saw an uprising and civil unrest boiling over in the cities across the U.S. Yeah, well, believe it or not, there are a lot of people not going to like Trump. They're not going to like what's happening. These fireworks were intense, spawned out of conflict and upheaval. I knew that something big had happened, and there was a catalyst that could not be stopped. Now, that's what my white hat banker tells me also. He said, what's coming cannot be stopped. It was the only way to displace the evil that had been predominant over the nation. I saw truth and justice being released. Well, that's the same thing we heard from several others. Shane Warren, okay. And in a moment, the evil regimes had to pull out every evil intention, plan, and action to try and stop the development of the justice that was now here encroaching on them from every side. It was no longer in wait. It was here. And the Lord's justice was being deployed. I saw cities on fire. You better count on it. That's the reason you better get prepared. It's not exactly happy days, my brothers and sisters. We're about to go through a battle. I saw cities on fire, retaliation and conflict as authorities moved in to do what they had to do. I saw a plethora of military and law enforcement. Okay, that's what Jack Rigney saw. That's what Terry Bennett saw. Okay, military has to come in and take over. And law enforcement taking massive action to arrest and contain these evil ones who were responsible for every inhumane action and corrupt deed. Justice would not be stopped. I saw patriots rising up as a backstop. In other words, they're backing up, okay, backing up the military as a backstop and force to support for the white hats. In any way they could, they were helping hold ground, taken back. The rebirthing of the nation was at hand. That's the same thing Chris said. Okay, again, I'm pretty sure these guys didn't get together and say, let's cook up a big lie. Those words, rebirthing of the nation, those words are straight out of Chris Reed's mouth. The rebirthing of the nation was at hand. I was then shown flags being lowered in the USA and other nations globally. In other words, changing flags. I know that rips at our heart to think that we're going to get a new flag, but I recall Dimitri, in one of his visions as he was coming out of it, said he saw a new flag for America. Babylonian governments were being dealt with internationally. Now look at this. Remember, I've been saying that Henry Gruver said it's a king. And there's a couple other people say he's coming back and a king. Now there's a couple of people still say president. But I want you to get a look at these words. New kingdom governments. Notice it didn't say anything about a constitution. A constitution is we the people are in charge. A kingdom is when one person, a king, is in charge. And at this point, that's the kind of power one person would have to clean house. Look at what it says. New kingdom governments or governance was being released. Many would be raising new flags. Okay, many nations will be changing their flags. That's what it says. Be raising new flags in the days to come. Nations coming under the lordship of the Lord God Almighty. Well, hallelujah. Again, there's some good news, which is nice, but understand, we're not past all this. There's a storm coming, just like Shane Warren was told. And I'm going to show you that word in the prophecy here in just a second. Babylonian systems were no longer in control. Righteous leaders standing for truth and justice leading. The time is now. As the truth was now being broadcast globally. Remember I told you they got an 8-hour loop. They loop it 3 times a day for 10 days. At least that's what I've heard the plan is. As the truth was now being broadcast globally, it could not be denied as this was now the time of change. The Father was turning up the heat on it all. I saw the Lord launching the hidden ones into positions to lead, to rebuild, according to His plans and purposes. These hidden ones had been hidden and prepared for this very moment. The Lord had clearly set things up. As I was recording this, the Lord spoke to me saying, Barry, tell my people I'm pulling the linchpin. What is about to take place will cause many great distress, including us, okay? For they could not imagine such evil in those they had trusted. There's about to be a lot of people shocked. And by the way, this is not just Democrats. It's not just Republicans. It's not just Americans. This is going to cut these. There's over 400,000 sealed indictments. Try to imagine that many people being arrested. What is about to take place will cause great distress, for they could not imagine such evil in those they had trusted. What these ones have done to steal, kill, and destroy shall now be brought to justice for all to see. What I'm releasing now will change the nations forever. Hold fast unto me through the darkness and the shaking. It is going to be dark for a time, but trust me in the storm. That's the same word that Shane Warren used. Remember, there's a storm coming, okay? For it in this darkness, and that's twice the word darkness is used. Maybe Vicki Parnell said darkness is coming. That I work my mysteries and my best to set my people free. I'm going to move swiftly. Stay in step with me as I move. There is a new day dawning. I'm about to connect the dots and pull things together. I'm doing so much more than you know at this time. Trust me and trust in my ways. In other words, the old ways are not, it's not be that same way. We're probably not going to be under the Constitution anymore. And my guess is that it's probably going to happen on, about, or around, or associated with September the 18th. I think, now I know a lot of people think, oh no, man, when he goes in front of Judge Merchan, he may sentence Trump to 12 months in prison, but Trump's never going to go to prison because his lawyers just file an appeal. Yeah, well, have the Democrats backed up an inch on anything so far? Anything they could throw at him, they will throw at him. My guess is Merchan is going to put him in prison. Now, whether he actually, whether he actually walks in behind the bars, I don't know. But my guess is, just a guess, that's a very good time to watch for the massive arrests to start. I can see Trump saying, are you going to arrest me? No, I'm going to arrest you. Now let's go on. The day is near that people will understand what I could have prevented by my power, I permitted by my wisdom. What? Let me read that again. That's important. The day is near that people will understand what I could have prevented by my power, I permitted by my wisdom. In other words, he's allowed this evil to go on. Trump the White Hats, the military intelligence, whoever it is, has allowed these evil people to do evil deeds, catching them like a fly in a trap. And then the light's going to turn on, and it's too late for all the cockroaches to scatter. Near to me and one another in the days ahead, for we shall do mighty things together, to fulfill the destiny over you and the destiny of the nations. I have said it before, and I will say it again. I will never leave nor forsake you, or turn my back on you. I am with you through the fire. Those words, through the fire, that's the name of a book given to Dimitri Duduman. It says, through the fire without burning. That's the name of his book. And I assure you, there is a great victory, celebration that awaits. Now, let's jump to Brandon Biggs. He had this in 2023. He just released it here, October 21 or 2024. I guess I got the date wrong because we aren't even in October yet. I have to check on that date. God said, I will not let America become a goat nation, for your founding fathers made a covenant with me. And suddenly he opened my eyes. I saw Plymouth Rock, and I saw the pilgrims crying out to God because they had made a covenant with him. They heard the hands locked together and worshiping him for the land that they had been given. They said, we will make this a land for you, O God. They made a covenant with him. I saw them taking communion upon that rock. He said, you see those prayers? They still echo to me. They are still crying out for me in my ears to make a nation, one nation under God. I will honor those prayers. Then I saw George Washington crying out for him on the battlefield to win the battles against the British. He was crying out for God to help him because they were losing. God gave him strength in those darkest hours. God fought for this nation, and he gave victory to our founding fathers. The Lord said, those men cried out and died for your freedom, and I'll not let their blood go. He said, there's a great correction coming. You will not be a goat nation. You will be a sheep nation. Great revival beyond anything you can comprehend is coming. No man is going to get the glory for it. Now that fits with all the other prophecies. What we've been told is that there's going to be a great revival that's to sweep in all the rest of the remaining names into the Gentile book of life. When all of those names, when the last name has been entered into the Gentile book of life, then he goes to the Jewish book of life, and the angel that spoke to Dimitri about this said, and then the judgment will hit America. So right now, what we're doing is we're coming into the final great revival. It's not just in America, but at the end of that revival, America gets taken out. Now let's go on. Then I saw the hand of God come out of the throne, and shafts of light came out. I saw glory domes in America. People would come from miles around. They would walk into those domes and would be healed by the power of God. I saw people being delivered. I saw people being saved. They were coming from the East Coast and the West Coast, from everywhere, to be part of this great revival taking place. Revival was everywhere. In the center of America, there was even more of a great revival. Some places were greater than others. Everybody's lives were being changed by the power of God throughout the whole world. It didn't have to do with just America. I saw a great revival in Europe and Africa. I remember Ken Peters said he saw revival break out, and the devil couldn't stop it. It was all over the globe, every place. And then after that, judgment hit. Now let's jump to Shane Warren. I've read those many times. So if you want to, you can pause and read the first thing. Essentially, he's saying there's a financial storm. Now, we're in a financial storm. It's not as bad as I thought it'd get yet. I think it is going to get worse. Then he saw the dollar blowing worthless as leaves in the wind. It's not there yet. Then he saw New Madrid fault, or a New Madrid earthquake hit. Then he said, I saw the church rise with healing in their wings for this moment. I saw God prospering greatly, many acquiring things, and a great transfer of wealth coming to the hands of believers. Churches became cities of refuge. The body of Christ stood up like a mighty sleeping giant in the earth and began to minister. People were coming to them. They had to return to the church. Signs, wonders, and miracles were poured out all over America. I saw America being shaken as the worldly couldn't go to the government for help anymore. Remember, they're give us our entitlements. They're holding up signs. The government's not doing the dole-outs anymore. Being shaken, the worldly couldn't go to the government for help. They had to go to the church for help. Entire cities became cities of refuge. There was life, safety, and peace till the city's revival had arrived. It was a two-sided coin. As judgment hit, so did God's miracle revivals. As great inflation caused an economic storm, great revival arrived. God will raise up his church. So, if this happens in September, of course, remember Chris said he saw an October surprise, so we don't know if it's September or October, but we do know, according to the other prophecy, it'd be before the election. Now, let's go on. I'm going to refresh your memory. August the 8th, 2015, Saturday night. Lord, what do you want to say for the sermon tomorrow morning? And I heard words. And it said, as the judgment hits, so are my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. You tell them, I will never leave them nor forsake them. And I'm going to meet the devil. Inch for inch, step for step, pound for pound, everything he does, I'm going to meet him. Then a Frenchman sent me a dream where he saw me being interviewed on TV, which was confirmed from a dream I had that I'm not covering today. But he said, I was asked the question, why is it that you have so many miracles at your meetings? I just got an email, a phone call just recently from a friend. Are you going to set up any meetings for the rest of this year? And I said, no. When the miracles start, our meetings will start. Proverbs 13:22 says, the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. Now, let me go on to point out something else. Barry Wunsch again. August 3, 2024. Barry, tell my people it is go time. What is unfolding right now is going to change the world forever. Tell my people, do not fear. You're about to see the destruction of the most dark and evil regimes that you've ever seen. What I'm shaking on a global scale. Keep your eyes on me, not to the right, not to the left, for they can't save you or stop what is coming. It is only I who can sustain you. It is only I who can deliver you. It is going to move fast. The gold is about to be released. Now, how many people we had say that's happening, okay? Access to many treasure is now being granted to those I have entrusted in this hour. For what I'm rebirthing can only be done with my backing, my resources, and my supernatural grace and empowerment upon my people, the church. The church gets the money, not the devil, okay? You can be assured it is coming through channels that will surprise you. The enemy's vaults are empty. He showed that in a vision the other day where the Federal Reserve was just about to shut down their computers. The enemy's vaults are empty. They're going down. Even though they continue to steal, kill, and destroy, they shall surely be defeated. There are uprisings unfolding even on this day that shall escalate to bring us to the tipping point. Well, look at Chicago. There is no going back from here. There is nothing that is going to stop it. Nations will fall. Kingdoms shall be shaken to the core. The ecclesia, or church, is taking its place. Righteous leaders are taking their place. All systems are go. Let the kingdom, notice it says kingdom again, not constitution. Kingdom is not constitution. Constitution is not kingdom. Let the kingdom Delta Force advance the line. Let me refresh your memory. One more thing here. Prophet Neville Johnson. Now, this is only part of it. It was a long one. This is one page of it. The scene changed. The angel was holding a large man upside down by the leg. He began shaking this man up and down violently and watched all kinds of things begin falling out of the man's pockets, such as gold, silver, inventions. That's what the other guy said, which seemed to be a connection with energy as well as inventions. There were cures for diseases falling out of man's pockets like cancer, diabetes, asthma, Alzheimer's, and other diseases already exist but been hidden by the pharmaceutical companies. This giant represented the world and the financial systems of this world. I watched this unfold. This angel began shouting the words, shake, same word the other guys are saying. Exposure, same thing. Transfer. Shake, exposure, transfer. Guys, this is screaming. This ought to be, which, by the way, please subscribe and please send this out to your friends. They need to hear this. Okay, last thing. I said the other thing. This is the last thing. Chris Reed, internal revolution in China. This is another confirmation. I saw an internal revolution happening in China. The below-ground church was about to see above-ground results. So much of the saber rattling when a nation is in decline or having internal turmoil. They usually try to start a war to distract off the internal domestic dissatisfaction. Not only did the Lord show me that, but he also said this is exactly why so much was allowed to be released from there a few years ago. It's because they were trying to keep people indoors from rioting. The Lord showed me that there was an internal revolution bubbling in China. That was October, the first on Thanksgiving Day, the tragedy where people were welded, shut in, because of the zero COVID policy in their houses and apartments. A fire started and burned 15 provinces in China. People were rioting, and it was all over the news at the end of November. The Lord was showing me this is the beginning of a revolution in China. An internal revolution is coming to China. He said, when you see Xi Jinping fall, you'll see that that's the sign of the internal revolution. The Communist Party will lose power, and China will devolve into states or separated sections. You might say with varying degrees of democracy. Democracy is coming to China. And you remember, Dmitry was told God will raise up China and Japan and many of the nations. They'll go against the Russians. Now, right now, China and Russia are buddies. But what this is saying, that's about to change. So may I suggest you get yourself some food. You need to get some food and water. You need to ask yourself, look, there's a storm coming. It's not going to be better until July 25. So you need to have provisions, food, water, clean air, whatever it takes. I would suggest you go to Joseph Kitchen. It's what I believe is God's famine food. Wheat. They have some of the best wheat. Step one, you go there, you get a machines package. That's the gizmos, the wherewithal to make the bread. Then you have to decide how much food you want. You order the food, and then you download recipes. That's another thing. You need to start making the food now, making the bread now, because there's a little bit of an art to it. I just was visiting my brother this past week, and he had got all the stuff from Joseph Kitchen, but he hadn't made any bread yet. And I'm talking to another fellow, he hadn't made bread yet. You need to start making your bread, and they have videos to show you how to do it. They also have recipes. Download the recipes. Matter of fact, I think I'm in a couple of the videos even. So download that, learn how to start making your bread. And my understanding is that they still have red wheat on buy one pail and get one pail free at josephkitchen.com. Summer blowout still on, last I heard. Also, you need to get yourself some gold and silver. For that, I suggest you go to 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Especially if you have an IRA, a 401k. Look at it. If the flag is about to go away, if the Constitution is about to go away and if it's replaced by a kingdom, do you trust the stock market? Do you trust wherever your IRA, your 401k? Look, it takes a couple of weeks to get you out of it. You better call now. I'm telling you, 800-200-GOLD. So don't email me crying in your beer, as they say, saying, oh, I lost my whole life savings. I lost it all. I lost it all in the stock market. Get it out now. I'm not giving financial advice, though. You have to pray and see what the Lord tells you to do. 800-200-GOLD. If you're out and about and all of a sudden you need gasoline, you need food, and the credit cards aren't working, they aren't taking dollars, then one of the best things to have is right here. It's a prepper bar. Each one of these is a little bit bigger than a credit card. Will fit in your purse or your billfold, and it breaks into various pieces. So you could give them part instead of maybe more silver, more gold than you need to. Carry it right in your billfold or your purse. This particular one is 5 bars. You don't necessarily need to carry 5 bars with you, but you call 844-771-1776 or prophecyclubbar.com, prophecyclubbar.com, 844-771-1776. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from EMPShield.com, EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your prophecy club.